All right, hello everybody. I am Steven from Woolery Strength Systems, and today we're going to be talking about my Monday, September 1st, lower body max effort lower body day. Sorry. So first thing we're going to do is go over kind of what we did. So this is our fourth week on the Nate Harvey high mileage conjugate program, and we kind of have changed it up a little bit here and there just to make it a little bit more for athleticism ish, kind of esque, whatever you want to say there. Um, just kind of adapted it. But anyway, so UCM strength staff in Missouri, we've all been lifting as a strength staff together. Just saying words now. I've been doing these for 30 minutes. But anyway, going through, we did single leg wall sits just for some tendon health type of thing for some isometric there. And that's just a thing that I've added in. I left in back extensions because they were feeling pretty good on my knee or on my back and my glutes and things like that, getting me warmed up pretty well for the squats and things like that. Then we did box jumps. I did one set at 24 and then two sets at 30 inches. Then our main movement today was safety squat bar versus bands, which was really, really fun, kind of. It felt really heavy. And then this is actually where I messed up. So snatch grip block pulls, and you're probably looking at this 4x15, like, damn, that is a lot of block pulls. Yes, it was. I accidentally did 4x15 when I was supposed to do 4x5 when I was typing it in. So I have a Google Sheet that I was sent the workout on because that's where he built it, the head strength coach Tyler, and he sent it to me. And apparently I misread it the morning of. So I put in 4x15 instead of 4x5, which is fine. I'm going to leave that in, and we can fix it next week if that's still an accessory, which I can't remember off the top of my head. Don't have it quite in. But anyway, then we go into GHR, 4-second eccentric. Those were hell. GHD setup. I had these said that I completed them, but and I'll talk to that when I get to them. I only ended up doing 2 sets of those, but I did abs a little bit later with when I helped train with the volleyball team. But besides that, um, those were just making my leg feel a little weird, and I didn't like it. Just a little bit of tightness in my hamstring, and I don't know why that did that, but it just didn't feel good. So I decided to kind of go through that. Pull-ups was a little rough, to say the least. You'll see that here in a second. And then belted marches, I didn't have time for. I had to get out of there, which seems to be the trend. So I'm going to really need to try to get better at doing that. So anyway, yes, going through the actual lift now. Going to move this to full screen. Don't have too much to really put on there. But those are PRs and things like that. So if you were ever to get coached by me or anything, that if you want to use the coaching app that I use, Turnkey Coach, you guys cool little metrics here that pops up: PRs, tonnage, how much you use during that weight, and also like by date. See how your tonnage is looking, and then also like your consistency metrics and things like that as well, which is really cool. But anyway, getting into it, single leg wall sits. Not going to make these very long here. Just had that one leg down, and then come up. I was slipping down the wall here. Just kind of pressing through that front foot, or I guess that only foot that's on the ground. Again, these have been making my knees feel a lot better, especially before squatting and things like that. So repping those out. And then we got our back extensions, again, 3x20. These are just more of a warm-up than more of like any types of working sets like that. Just kind of squeeze the glutes at the top. Nothing's crazy here, just trying to get warmed up for the most part, like I said. And yeah, so pretty simple on that one. Again, not going to spend too much time there. Then we have our box jumps. We did one at 24, which this is this one right here. Landed very stiff-legged. I'm trying to land as straight-legged as possible without pulling my knees up a whole lot, just to make sure I am actually jumping with max effort. And that's why I ended up going to that 30-inch box. Because for the one people that do not know, I have a training goal of dunking a basketball, which is sort of a training goal. It's still like a skill for sure, but definitely need to raise my general capabilities before I can dunk a basketball. Quite a lot, actually, but that's okay. Having a big goal is not a problem. And here's where I got to the 30. Definitely not as smooth, but was happy I was kind of being able to get that. And the reason we have been doing box jumps, besides before it was programmed, is that knee, those landing, the forces of me just kind of landing on it, jumping from not that high, but the 25 inches I can jump, was just a little bit much right away, just because I have not jumped in quite a while. So trying to get away from that knee bugging me. And I was still pretty happy with these. Most of these felt pretty good. Box jumps when I was younger were definitely one of my fears because I sucked at them. So I'm gonna definitely be pretty happy to see how this jumping progression kind of happens throughout time here. But anyway, going through. So I was kind of dumb here. I think I did end up doing a 185 on the camera, but I definitely accidentally recorded. I was like by myself, so not very locked in for a minute, and I did 2 sets of 135 because I was not paying attention. But anyway, we'll go ahead and watch 135 and see if we can see anything here. Go ahead and get into the setup here. Perfect. 1, 2, 3. My walkouts are definitely getting a lot more consistent here. But I was pretty happy, and overall depth looked pretty solid today. Was very, very happy with it. I will say, I think I had, again, I was lifting by myself, and I kind of did our bands today. I think I had the band tension cranked up pretty dang high today, which people were a little bit kind of complaining about that. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to show 2 sets of 135. I just messed up there. Here's a 185 for a single, though. Yeah, the band tension was cranked up pretty high today, which ended up being okay, but definitely gave me some struggle here and there. So trying to get to the bottom. My depth is not terrible there. I think my knee joint's about here. My hip joint's about there. Again, would probably like to see it a little bit more parallel, but again, still getting back. This is week 4 of me getting back into heavy squats. I should probably have gotten it fixed by now, but I'm still also working with that kind of sitting back a little bit more, and with the safety bar, it's a little bit odd with that weight feeling super far and forward in front of you. So it kind of forces you to be a little more upright. So overall, though, I was pretty happy with that, especially a lot better than it has been in the past. So go ahead and watch that. And you can even tell already that also slowed down, but get into 225 here. Went ahead and threw the back on. I don't know, or the belt on. I don't know if the back was just feeling a little bit tight due to the fact that I had to be a little more upright or what, but it was definitely feeling a little tight today. So I kind of threw that on a little earlier than I expected. Plus, the band tension probably did not help that at the top. It's getting in here. 1, 2, 3, settled in. Big brace. Got down to the bottom. And that depth is pretty good. Again, my hip joint is probably about there. My hip crease is a little bit higher. Switch this to the ruler. This is probably about there, so not too bad. Again, my hip crease is a little bit higher, most likely. But again, the sweatpants probably don't help that much either. That one definitely moved, but didn't move completely well. What I'm happy to see is I didn't really fold in the upper back area, so that's really nice to see. All the standing abs and things like that have been helping, as well as just the overall face pulls and other things like that, just kind of adding up some volume there has been helping to strengthen up my back. And here's me being dramatic. I did not have a spotter, so I was like, yeah, I got to get this up or I'm going to die. So that happened. Move this out of the way. This should have been our 240 rep. Did not fail today. Learned from my past experiences here. But anyway, here we go. Going down. I'm going to watch that one more time in slow motion and see what my, just to be able to see, make sure I really did hit depth. Because I can kind of see it, but breaking up the hips and the knee. So at least they've been very consistent overall. I would definitely like to see, I can see my shins a little bit more angled than I'd like. It's not quite as vertical as I'd want it to be. I want it to be a little bit more like this. But again, with that safety bar, that weight sits so far in front of you, being super vertical is a little bit more difficult, or at least in my opinion. So that could have been the case, not too sure. But overall, again, still the upper back's not really folding, which I'm happy to see. Hopefully that other stuff's paying off. Thanks to shout out to Reese for spotting me. So just in case I decided not to pick it up, walking it out here. and it moved pretty dang well. Not much faster or slower than the one before. I only added 10 pounds, I think. Up, yeah. So that time you can kind of see my upper back actually. I'm gonna slow this down. Sorry, I'm kind of up in Earl's face right now. Um, as I go down, and I think I actually might have got this. Might have been my lowest squat of the day right here, to be honest. Felt really good, but as you see, I immediately my hips shoot up, but my upper back does not, and I have to kind of almost good morning-ish on the way up there, and I ended up locking it out. But definitely made a good decision to go in 260. So if we look, well, we won't actually have history here. So if we look back on week 1, we did safety bar versus chains, and I did 265. We were kind of talking, and it's like I might just be better versus bands, at least with my current situation. And then the chains are also are give or take about 70 pounds at the top, so plus 265, which is math at the moment 305, 335 or so. I think I did that math right, potentially. And then here I did 260, and these are give or take 50 pounds on each side. Again, especially if I had that band tension cranked up. So really I might have been doing around 360 at the top, which again, if that's the case, I'm very, very happy with that. Puts me at about 315 maybe at the bottom, give or take. So yeah, overall I was very, very happy with this today, especially after talking to TD here. And then we're gonna only just watch one of these block pulls. So again, I felt like I was sandbagging this whole time with me going lighter, but I was also doing 15 reps and I was supposed to do 5. So that's again on me training uh, mental error. But watching these snatch reps, just trying to get set, mostly trying to get my hips low, but clearly didn't do super well. You guys can kind of make that decision yourself. It felt pretty good. I felt in a good position there. The snatch grip might be changing how it's supposed to be looking. Again, I haven't had anyone to watch my pulls while I'm doing them. That's kind of my least confident movement for the most part. So overall, these did feel really, really good, especially on the upper back with that snatch grip, trying to stay tight. And then also, honestly, my adductors and my glutes definitely were getting fired up. Thinking about pulling that together to kind of lock it out, which felt really good. My biggest problem here was honestly my cardio. With 15 pounds, trying to stay tight that whole time definitely slowed me up a little bit here and there, and would just do straight up just getting fatigued. But again, nothing too fancy, especially with 15 reps. If I had some more weight, might have been more interesting. But then going to these 4-second GHRs, I recorded all 3. Probably not going to watch all 3, but I recorded them just to kind of see what my tempo is like. And then we'll get kind of started here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And most of the time I ended up moving this up a little bit, which I'll kind of go over and look at. Yeah, so I moved that up here and see. We'll just go ahead and go to the last one. See how much fatigue got me. I was really only started counting as soon as I kind of broke perpendicular from the floor. So the floor is here. As soon as I broke perpendicular is kind of when I started counting for the most part. So after I broke about this line, 2, 3, 4, pulling up. Yeah, these got pretty dang heavy on the hamstrings, especially after the 60 reps of block pulls. The hamstrings and just lower body were kind of done with, to be honest. Which again, that was my fault completely. So I was supposed to do 20 reps or potentially 15. I can't remember now. I'd have to look, but 15 or 20 reps of heavy, and then I ended up doing 60 reps of just moderate. So anyway, pull up here. I did a mini back extension there. Was not very happy with that one. Had to pick up the shirt apparently to get locked in. Pretty happy with that one. And yeah, I look kind of done, it seems. So let's see. I think that might have been. Oh, we got so the GHD sit-ups, but those were difficult. I will say 100%. I don't know if it was because I did these before by a lot more than I was supposed to or what, but my hammies were fried. Next, going through though, we have these GHD sit-ups. Originally, I was going to go all the way down. Like, I actually thought I was going a lot flatter than this, to be honest. But I didn't record the first set. That's why. I ended up only going to about parallel because there was putting just a lot of strain on the hip flexor that I didn't quite like at the moment. So that might be something I have to kind of ease myself into a little bit more. Not too sure. But I was almost doing just like, I don't know. At one point on the later on, like I tried to do a third set, I just almost turned into like almost just like a crunch. So I'm kind of isometrically holding out in front and then just barely crunching up. These were still really good. Got my abs pumped up for the most part for the 2.5 sets I did. But like I said, it was just making my hammy feel very tight, and I didn't quite like the feeling. You might be able to see me. I did not. But I was gonna say I kind of was just grabbing my hamstring after. It just felt a little funky and was not my favorite. So ended up doing something else, which is fine. And then we have pull-ups. As you can see through the reps that I got, my pull-up strength is not the best, which is fine. That's just something I need to work on for sure, and it just becomes a kind of a relative strength type of thing. So I got 3, 2, 1, and 1. However, I did do eccentrics to kind of get a little bit more volume slash just overall just work in general. I'll kind of show you here. So we're pulling up 1 and 2 and little kip for a 3. And I think I did pull here still. Pull, yeah. Didn't quite happen. Um, kind of thinking about life while I was dead hanging there for a second. And then I decided to jump up top there. 2, 3, 4 second eccentric, give or take. It might have been a little bit quick, but looking down at the timers there. So about a 3 second eccentric, just to kind of rep them out, at least get to the rep range that I wanted. And I ended up doing this on all the sets that I did. Uh, just to get a little bit more volume for the lats, and just to kind of try to improve that strength somehow or another. Hopefully, definitely see these getting up, evolving over the time, or at least increasing reps over time. But and then, like I said, no belted marches. Difficulty today was about a 4. That squat definitely was heavy. Felt very heavy, which maybe makes sense, obviously, because it's max effort day. But it felt heavier than I was expecting. And then the 4x15 and the GHRs, they just was really getting me back to back there. So difficulty ended up being a 4, probably to my own fault. But then duration about 70 minutes, didn't take too long. Fatigue level was about a 3. Did not Was definitely up a little bit later over the weekend. So then trying to get up early again on that Monday definitely kind of missed me a little bit. Um, but yeah, besides that, that's kind of all I have. I want to say thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or anything like that about the training or what I'm doing for training, let me know in the comments below. So again, yeah, thanks for watching, and have a good one.